Good Friday morning. I'm Storm Track 12 meteorologist Les, still alerting you to another round of winter weather for this Friday. And we'll have to see if we can't get yet maybe more snow possible as we go in through the next several Fridays, as the Arctic air is going to be coming back into our weather pattern here. But it's because of that Arctic air that we've got the problems around the area for later on this afternoon. National Weather Service has issued a winter weather advisory for counties along and north of Highway 264. So that includes Wilson County, Wayne County, Greene County, Pitt County, especially northern Pitt County, northern Washington County, Washington itself, Beaufort County, Martin, so Bertie, Edgecombe. We've got a lot of these counties along and north of Highway 264 that we are going to be having some problems with as we go on through later this afternoon. Here's how I kind of break it down. Not to mean that in Vanceboro or New Bern or even Jacksonville you may not see a quick burst of some snow at the initial onset of this here, and sleet and freezing rain, but it'll quickly transition over to a plain rain event, and probably just light showers as you go closer to the coast, not really reaching until sunset tonight. A little bit of a transition zone from Kenansville up through Washington, just south of Greenville, on up and towards Plymouth. Probably maybe a 45-minute to an hour-long period of sleet and freezing rain, and maybe some snow mixed in there. But then again, transitioning over to a main rain situation. It's as you get north and west of that line, as you go up towards Tarboro, Goldsboro, even extending up and towards Halifax and Roanoke Rapids. That looks like it's going to be a longer duration of snow, and then also once it does transition, it will be a longer duration of sleet and freezing rain, and that's why I am concerned we could have some accumulation of the wintry mix in those areas outlined there. 2 o'clock to 11 o'clock. So it's a quick hitting system, about 8 to 10 hours tops. No problems for this morning. Clouds are thickening up, and that's actually going to trap the cold air at the low levels of the atmosphere here for us. And it's out of here by midnight. So again, it's a quick hitting system. Just unfortunately, it's coming right around the time of a Friday night rush hour. So let's talk a little bit about the science as to what goes into whether it's sleet or freezing rain or just what exactly is going to be transpiring. So here's a little bit of a cross-section of the atmosphere. For us to get snow, it has to be cold, below freezing, from where the snowflake is generated all the way down to the surface. So temperatures need to be between generally 1 and 10 degrees Fahrenheit to generate the snowflakes. Then all the way down to the ground, it needs to be at or below freezing. Now, when you start talking about these other forms of winter mix in here, like sleet, the problem is with sleet, you've got a warm wedge of air that's come in at the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere. Above 5,000 feet, it's above freezing. So any raindrop or snowflake that forms there, it's going to melt as it comes southbound. However, the only problem is, though, as it gets closer to the surface here, you've got a wedge of cold air below 5,000 feet. As a result, that's going to get that sleet pellet to start to develop. Now, when you talk about freezing rain, it may be above freezing for a thin little zone there, generally right at or below the cloud deck. So it melts. But then that raindrop comes closer to the ground. It hits that freezing bubble, that whole hard, cold, dense air at the ground level here. And as a result, it freezes on contact. So that's kind of the three different things that we're looking at here, the processes in effect for whether you're going to see plain rain or sleet or freezing rain, or as you get closer to the Virginia-North Carolina border, just plain snow. So kind of a wide range there, really depending on where that warm wedge of air situates itself, right at the cloud level, right below the cloud level, and where the cold air holds the longest. That's also going to dictate what you're going to be seeing. All right, let's break it down here for you. Temperatures have a lot to do with it. North of Highway 264, we're just barely above freezing. South of Kenansville, New Bern, Oriental, we may be into the 40s for later on this afternoon before the clouds really start to come in and the rainfall arrives. Again, like I said, it's out of here by midnight. We'll quickly clear skies out and look for temperatures just into the upper 20s overnight tonight. A little breezy, especially late tonight going into tomorrow morning, but we'll look for temperatures holding into the mid-40s for the afternoon highs tomorrow with just a few clouds developing in the afternoon. All right, here's part of the reason why I am concerned about that sleet and freezing rain. Ground surfaces. Look at Hosky, 13. It's been 2 years since we've been that cold, and we didn't have any fresh snow on the ground. 19 we got down to, 19 in Washington, 18 in Richlands, Kenansville, Kinston, and Greenville. So the inland spots definitely had the cold air that was locked in. Here is our storm system that we are tracking coming through the Central Plains. It's kind of a double barrel low, very weak, kind of stretched out. but it's the one in Tennessee that we need to continue to keep an eye on here. And keep in mind, yesterday we did have a fresh recharge of Arctic air come down with this high pressure that is now working off of the Delmarva. So northeasterly winds are going to keep that low-level cold air in here across Pitt, Martin, Burt, T counties as we go on through later this afternoon, in spite of that storm system coming out of the Tennessee Valley. So here's what Future Track shows as we go on through the morning hours, no problem. Even at lunchtime, no problem here in eastern Carolina. Between about 2 o'clock and 4 or 5 o'clock, that's when the rainfall will be developing from west to east, moving across the area here. And as a result, that's why we do have that sleet, freezing rain mix that potentially could start off as a little burst of snow south of the Kenansville to Washington line and then quickly change back over here. And then again, you'll notice that we continue with that sleet, freezing rain, and more importantly, that freezing rain accumulating on bridges and overpasses the further north you get. By 9 o'clock, it starts to wrap up east of I-90, or starts to break east of I-95, and by midnight, it's off the coast. And then there's the quick clearing that we're going to be watching set in here as we go on through this weekend with lots of sunny skies around and at least moderating temperatures. Now, all this has to do with what is going to be going on at the jet stream level here. Again, we've got this intense Arctic air with the polar vortex that was locked in over Hudson Bay. That kind of rotates on out of here. And we do get that warmer air to move in as we go on through this weekend as a little upper-level ridge kind of reestablishes itself. So our winds are actually going to be coming from Texas as opposed to straight down out of the Arctic like we saw here the last week or two. So as that upper-level ridge holds tight for this weekend, we'll pump the warmth in here. But it's going to be short-lived because already we can see the road to its fate with the next trough digging in here. And this is going to bring the reinforcing shot of Arctic air back into the neighborhood here as we head on through the end of next week. So even by Wednesday, as the storm system ejects up towards the lakes, we're still in that southwesterly flow aloft with the upper-level ridge axis now getting out over the Bahamas. And then this is what's going to be happening. The polar vortex will resettle back in south of Hudson Bay because the NAO, that North American oscillation, one of the things we look at, is going to go negative as we go into the first part of February, and that should lock that polar vortex down over Hudson Bay, and as a result, pump that cold air into us here in eastern Carolina. So it's a brief warm-up as we head on through Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Again, Wednesday we may make a run at 70 degrees, just depending on how long it takes that storm system to come eastbound here, and then eventually the colder air and the rain wins out, and we get another cool down coming our way going into next weekend. I'm going to be here in the Storm Track 12 Weather Center for the morning, and I'll actually be out live reporting this afternoon from Williamston or Windsor or Oak Hill in Martin and Bertie County area. So if you see me, say hi, and you can always continue to check us out here on YouTube and Facebook for continuous updates. I'm Storm Track 12 meteorologist Les Still.